A recent study by McKinsey found that experience impacts people's decisions to revisit a hotel 4 times more than perks granted by loyalty programs. Many repeat guests don't even bother signing up for membership. As a result, they stay out of the hotel's sight. So, how do you spot and reward these invisible but extremely valuable customers? Figures show a steep decline in the likelihood of a customer recommending a loyalty program to a friend or a colleague. Some people are discouraged by the complexity of the tiers, each with its range of requirements and conditions. Others think the threshold for eating your breakfast free is too high to be worth the effort of filling out a form. This doesn't mean loyalty programs are no longer relevant, they're just not for everyone.
If you take the number of guests and the number of people that sign up for a loyalty program, it tends to be in the 30 to 35% range. And that number is very hard to basically, increase because of reluctance of customers to sign up, provide their, PII information for sign up.
Shekhar Mellapady, advisor at Garner, an advisory service for travel companies.
The loyalty programs do not do a great job when it comes to the middle of the loyalty spectrum where customers and families are staying 1 to 2 nights a year and they don't collect enough points to be able to get really good incentives out of the loyalty program. Another case of customers where there's an issue with sign up is people who actually are walk-ins at some of the hotels, especially roadside hotels and one night stay hotels.
Though these guests stay out of traditional programs, they are already loyal to the brand, and that loyalty is worth a lot. It seems only natural that hotels should incentivize such repeat customers to come back again. But here's a question: how do you identify them? When guests sign up for a loyalty program, they voluntarily share their personal information and receive a unique identifier that makes them recognizable. Program members literally declare, "Hey, it's me again," at each interaction with a hotel. Non-members are quite a different story. Even if they book the same accommodation repeatedly, a hotel system and staff probably have no idea who they are, unless it's a cozy small inn where everybody knows everybody. Several factors make identifying repeat guests extremely challenging at scale. The first obstacle relates to data protection regulations. At check-in, guests must show an ID to confirm their identity. So why not write down these details to detect repeat stays? Technically, it would be straightforward and easy if it were not for laws like GDPR in Europe and CCPA in California. They prohibit hotels from reusing personal information without explicit consent from customers. Note that non-compliance can result in hefty fines. The second factor concerns the limitations of existing property management systems. PMSs capture information related to a guest's stay, but typically, they don't keep it for a long time. Even if they do, these systems lack embedded mechanisms to match records and identify the same person on the next visit. The third block is the inconsistency of records across booking channels. There are many ways travelers can reserve accommodations today. They can use a hotel website or mobile app, visit OTA platforms such as Expedia or Booking.com, reach out to a local travel agent, or call the hotel directly for a reservation. All these channels will capture guest data a bit differently. Suppose traveler Jonathan Rivette makes his first reservation with a hotel chain, Welcome Hotels, on its branded website. When inserting personal details, he shortens his name to John and provides the contact frequenter@email.com. After several months, John chooses the same hospitality brand, but this time he makes a reservation by call. A front office manager didn't hear the second name right and made a record for Jonathan Rovit with contact frequenter@email.com. In a while, our traveler books a room in a Welcome Hotel via the OTA, again, as John, with the same contact details. But when sending data to the property, the OTA replaces the consumer's email with its own address, ota@email.com. So far, the Welcome chain has 3 different documents for a single person, And there can be many more. Without a proper matching algorithm, it's almost impossible to identify John Rovett, Jonathan Rovett, and John Rovett with a generic email as the same unique and loyal customer, Jonathan Rovett. Think of hospitality companies with thousands of properties across multiple chains. To foster guest loyalty outside of loyalty programs, they need a systematic approach to identifying repeat customers and relevant technologies to build profiles of unique guests from disparate records. The practice of spotting and merging records that refer to the same object, in our case, a guest, is known as entity or identity resolution. It's a key element of the broader process sometimes called Master Data Management, or MDM. In hospitality, entity resolution tools and MDM systems enable hotels to collect inputs across all customer touchpoints, match them, and merge them into a unified profile. Kept in a centralized repository, such unified profiles serve as a single source of truth about guests. Each time they book the hotel, the system will identify them as repeat visitors. It will also add new details about their behavior, for example, shopping patterns, preferred payment methods, and visit goals like family vacations or work.
When it comes to basically, like I said, customers that have not signed up for loyalty programs, but are repeat customers, the only information that you actually can have about them is their past stay and what they have done during their past stay. Did they do any upgrades? Did they buy anything, in the restaurant? What did they eat? What amenities did they purchase? Or did they actually purchase a late checkout? All of that is information that can be used to sort of curate the next experience.
We can find adopters of identity resolution and MDM technologies among large hotel chains spanning multiple countries and brands. Take Hyatt. One of the world's top hospitality companies partnered with Informatica, a leader in enterprise cloud data management, to consolidate information across over 700 hotels. So, if a housekeeper in San Francisco notices that a certain guest does yoga every morning, this detail can be shared with the MDM system. When such guests visit a Hyatt hotel next time, personnel in any location will be able to recognize them and meet their specific needs, providing them, say, with a yoga mat on the balcony. Another giant, Choice Hotels, embarked on consolidating tens of millions of guest profiles with Amazon and its purpose-built solution, Unified Profiles for Travelers and Guests. The leading lodging franchisor used the platform to compare profiles against 4 rules: first and last names, email, phone, and home address, and automatically merged them in case of exact matches. Upon that, AI-based matching was applied to reveal additional coincidences. When looking into the results, the Choice Hotels team found that artificial intelligence did a great job of catching nicknames, like Bill for William or Bob for Robert. At the same time, it tended to see a single person in a husband and wife with a shared last name, address, email, and phone. That's why Choice Hotels decided to check AI pairs manually and either accept or reject them. In the former case, the records were automatically merged, similar to rule-based matches. As the example of Choice Hotels shows, modern technologies are very helpful, yet not omnipotent. You still need a human in the loop. Besides that, even AI is powerless in the face of people's unwillingness to share much of their personal data. When registering on websites, they sometimes enter senseless sequences of symbols or fake data instead of real addresses and phones. This makes the task of recognizing repeat guests even more challenging. One of the promising solutions to the problem could be self-sovereign identity. Self-sovereign identity, or SSI, is a relatively new concept that aims to let each of us control our sensitive data and decide on what and when to share with businesses. In practice, this means you will own a single digital profile or wallet with verified electronic versions of your physical credentials, such as an ID card or driver's license. The identity data won't be stored in a centralized repository. Instead, it will reside on your mobile device, which reduces the risk of mass leaks. You can share selected credentials, for example, in the form of a QR code. SSI will enable you to authenticate yourself without disclosing sensitive data. In travel, it will speed up security checks at the airport and simplify the identification process at every step of the journey, from using car rental services to hotel check-in. Not only will SSI allow people to quickly identify themselves, but it will also effectively communicate what they want from a particular brand at a particular moment in time. For example, travelers may provide a hotel with information relevant to their stay, which can differ depending on whether guests are on a family vacation or a business trip. Travelers also dictate what the hotel can or can't do with this shared data.
Certain sovereign identity technologies would mean that they will identify themselves to you, but you can only keep their information for the duration of the stay, not beyond that, right? Without using their identifying information is something that you have to get comfortable with. First name, last name, and middle name, or their date of birth, or where they're coming from, would only be available during the stay, but after that, you cannot use it anymore, right? But there might be some sort of a hash or hash ID or something that you can use to say, hey, this customer has come, the second time.
So even if the hotel loses access to John's personal data, it can still see into anonymized information from past stays to find out how to make a guest associated with a certain ID a bit happier. Chances are that SSI technologies will help build trust between consumers and businesses. As a result, people will intentionally tell more about themselves, their preferences, and their needs to the chosen brands. In turn, it becomes easier for any company, and for hotels in particular, to comply with data protection regulations. Why? Because the hotels use information clients voluntarily share with them, and they don't need to store much sensitive data in their systems. The SSI scenario is a win-win for travelers and travel suppliers. But when will it go from concept to reality? The technologies for SSI are still evolving, with many travel players, from industry giants like IATA, Amadeus, and ICAO to startups, working on digital identity standards, rules, and infrastructures. Moreover, governmental bodies are also into the SSI idea. For example, the European Union is running an ambitious project called the European Digital Identity Wallet, under which by 2026, every member state must offer at least one version of a digital identity app. This free downloadable solution will enable citizens to authenticate themselves online and offline, share necessary documents, or reveal a portion of verified personal information. Among other things, wallets will store travel documents like tickets, visas, and boarding passes and let owners instantly identify themselves when booking a hotel.
So this is basically where you have to start working with certain governing bodies, as well as basically startups that are providing these technologies that customers will sign up. And then in this case, you have to prepare your technology stack to have an ability to get this sovereign identity.
Experts predict that by 2035, SSI will be widespread across the travel industry. However, we still don't know how exactly it will work or how fast people will adopt it. Meanwhile, hotels have to rely on existing technologies. Hotels can automate repeat customer recognition in two ways: implement a ready-to-use master data management system, or build a solution from scratch, tailoring it to their unique needs. In both cases, they need an IT team that understands hotel data, its nuances, and associated challenges. The custom project takes two critical steps. The first is designing a data infrastructure with centralized storage to collect guest records from various sources. The second is choosing a matching algorithm to compare and merge them if there's a coincidence. After reconciling records and creating unique profiles, the same algorithm will help spot repeat customers once they book a room, check in, or interact with a hotel in some other way. Previously, hotels relied on very basic rules to match guest records. Today, they can benefit from sophisticated AI models that are getting better all the time. But even the smartest technology makes no sense if you lack a strategy for treating and rewarding repeat customers. As said, experience is a key booster of loyalty. It all starts with small welcome incentives based on understanding your guests.
It really depends upon the brands and what you want to be known for. And these incentives have to be meaningful, but should not cost you too much to basically implement, right? Like something as simple as giving them bottles of water, or something as simple as cookies, or something, or a gift bag that actually is relatively easy to manage. Something basically the customer would say it made a difference, right? But it doesn't have to be anything expensive, doesn't have to be anything hard to operationalize, for example, that is hard to repeat, but it's not a one size fits all. But the key is understanding who your customer is.
Identifying repeat customers and demonstrating that they are important to you are only the first steps in creating customer loyalty. The next is tailoring a truly personalized experience. We'll discuss this in the upcoming videos, so stay tuned.